Alrighty then. Continuing with the North American swing, we arrive here at Mexico City for round 15, the penultimate round of the Breakout Racing League Realistic Performance Championship and the Mexican Grand Prix. Welcome along here to Mexico, sitting at 2,200 meters above the sea level. Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, is known for the Templo Mayor, a 13th century Aztec temple, and the Plaza de la Constitucion, but also the Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The 4.504 kilometer, 2.64 674 mile circuit, was named after Ricardo and Pedro Rodriguez. Ricardo Rodriguez Grand Prix practice session, which was a non-championship Grand Prix. The track has 17 corners, 7 to the left and 10 to the right, with 3 DRS zones after turn 17, 3, and 11. We'll go now. The drivers now have to negotiate these tire compounds, the C4, the C3, and the C2. The C4 being the soft red ring tire, which is the fastest tire and the least durable. The C3 medium yellow ring tire, which is the balanced spec tire for a race, and we're going to see a lot of that tire during the Grand Prix today. And the C2 hard white ring tire, it is the slowest but the least degrading. The drivers will have to utilize those tires and also stay within the track limits. Well, you see here, there's only 15 drivers on the grid. So, everyone makes it through Q1 for the first session of the day. And because of this, that is also another thing, these drivers get to save their tires. So there will not be any more of a chance of these drivers having less Q3, and we'll see how that plays out in just... Well, let's go through some of these drivers real quick as we fade in. It is quite the race indeed that you want to tune in here to today. It's the championship decider, if not going to be brought into the Brazilian Grand Prix a week from now. So that's going to be a great situation for these drivers. But here's the thing. Usually a championship decider is going to be between two drivers who have fought the entire season. Well, unfortunately for us here and the spectators, that's not the case. You see, one of our championship contenders, Taylor Clan 2008, isn't here today. So, it's going to be Ritzy against the pack. We're going to see how that plays out. But let's go on to the championship now and give it a brief frisk down. The Constructors has already been locked up for Red Bull Racing taking it and having a great season indeed. Both Ritzy and Taylor have had great seasons. Excellent drives the entire way for them. And congrats to the championship for their team. And with 2 rounds left, the max amount of points you can grab is going to be 52. Well, the 43-point gap between Ritzy and Taylor needs to go down to 26. What? Oh, what? What has happened here? Okay, we're probably going to have a lobby restart. So give us a few seconds and we'll get this all settled out, as this was not supposed to happen. Let's go and talk about this as well. Before then, the 17-point gap, that's what the gap between Ritzy and Taylor is if Ritzy does bring it to Mexico, or bring it to Brazil, I'm sorry. Well, that's the thing. He needs to outscore Taylor by that 17 points. But with Taylor not being here, that's going to benefit Ritzy a lot. So the scenarios we had, or get second with fastest lap in either points if he gets or second. Well, Taylor had to get 6th and below if he won with fastest lap, and 6th and below without fastest lap if Ritzy didn't get the fastest lap and won the race. Well, since Taylor is, that's not going to be an issue for Ritzy. So we're going to see how that plays out today. It's going to be Ritzy against everyone else. There's a strong competitors across the field. It's not going to be as so easy as you would think. So let's go and talk about the rest then. That's pretty much going to be all to see from here before we get the lobby to restart going back up. So just give us a few minutes and we'll get that all sorted back. Alrighty then. Hopefully the issues are all resolved. But let's get this going again. Let's continue with the North American string. We arrive here at Mexico City for round 15 and the penultimate round of the Breakout Racing League Realistic Performance Championship and the Mexican Grand Prix. So welcome along here to Mexico. We sit about 2,200 meters above sea level. Mexico City, the capital of Mexico, is known for the Templo Mayor, a 13th century Aztec temple, and the Plaza de Constitucion, and also the Aerodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The 4.504 kilometer, 2.674 mile circuit named after Ricardo and Pedro Rodriguez, after Ricardo Rodriguez sadly died in the 1962 Mexican Grand Prix practice session. It was a non-championship session, so it was really unfortunate, and not too long after that, Pedro died as well. So they decided to honor them both, as named the Aerodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. So, well, speaking of the track itself, it is 17 corners, 7 to the left and 10 to the right, with 3 DRS zones after turn 17, 3 where we currently are right now, into turn Boss Cookie, and with turn 11, the new DRS zone that was added after the 2018 Mexican Grand Prix. Well, the drivers now have 3 tire compounds, the C4, C3, and the C2, the middle range of the tire compounds, with the C4 being the soft red ring tire, which is the fastest but the least durable, the C3, the medium yellow ring tire, which is the balanced spec tire, and the C2, hard white ring tire, which is the slowest but is the most durable. We'll see what those drivers can do strategy-wise, because it's not a simple game. It's not a one-stop, as it is in other rounds that we've had in the past. Well, the drivers will have to utilize not only the strategy, but to stay within the white lines, trying to make sure you avoid penalties. That's a crucial thing here at Mexico, because grabbing a penalty can and will wreck your race. On to the championship then. The Constructors is already locked up as it was a couple of rounds ago. Red Bull winning that one, and it's going to have a great celebration if not only they got the Constructors, but the drivers as well. Well, thankfully for them, it's down to 2 drivers already. It's between Ritzy and Taylor. 43 points is the gap. With 2 rounds left, there is not much room for error. Well, that's going to mean a lot, especially when the driver who's fighting for the championship leader, Taylor, isn't here today. So Ritzy has a great shot to make up those 17 points. Actually, speaking of Taylor, he is here today, so I don't know how really this is going to work, because Ardell is actually in his car. So we'll figure that one out shortly. Taylor leads Ritzy by 43 points, and Ritzy needs to outscore Taylor by 17 to bring it to Brazil. We'll see how that works out. In order for that to happen, Ritzy needs to win with fastest lap, and Taylor needs to get 6 and below. Ritzy, if he cannot grab the fastest lap, Taylor still needs to get 6 and below, but make sure he does not have the fastest lap. Ritzy will need to get second with fastest lap if he cannot win the race or grab the fastest lap while winning the race. Taylor needs to get 9th and below. And if Ritzy cannot grab the fastest lap while finishing second, he needs to get 10th and below without the fastest lap. And if Ritzy does not get on the top 2 steps of the podium, Taylor wins the championship automatically. We'll see how that plays out. Cookie in the Racing Point, 14.0. That is the provisional lap time that everyone needs to go chasing around here in the Mexico City circuit. 15.1 for the Red Bull of Ardell. He will take provisionally P2. Inside report, he's going around in Sector 1, now after turn 3, going down to the run to turn 4. From the track map on. All starts to play out. B-Dunk 14.8 in the Alpha Tauri. Great lap for him, puts up ahead of his sister team in the Red Bull, and goes to P4, a 15.6 in the McLaren. Ethan goes up, or ET4N, I'm sorry, as Ethan, as he's known, is up to P5, 15.9 to the Renault driver. He's subbing in for Axe, who could not make it sadly today as well, unknown as subbing in for Chandler. And Fabico splits the 2 Renaults with Albina in P7 provisionally, but this is short qualifying. No longer it is the full format, due to 1, 14 drivers showing up for the race, and 2, a little bit of an issue on Codemaster's side. Dark Ice in the Alpha Tauri, he's subbing in for Mean Fern, as B-Dunk is subbing in for Phantoms. We'll see how these 2 Alpha Tauris go, but that's not the only fights on the way that I talked about with the championship fight. There is some couple battles in the Constructors fighting for it. 4th is a close fight. McLaren leads Alpha Tauri by 15 points, who Alpha Tauri has a 10-point clear buffer of Renault. We'll see what those 3 teams can do in the last 2 Grand Prix, but that's not all. Haas, Williams, and Alfa Romeo are fighting for the bottom points. They have Haas leading, with Williams 3 points behind, and Alfa 7 points behind Williams. So we'll see what they can do with that as Dark Ice goes through turn 6. Zach is going through the final sector into turn P12. He's going side by side with the Renault. I believe that is Bobina. Bobina goes a little bit higher and goes ahead of the Ferrari. Rizzi is in the pit lane of the mediums, but Gutidu goes around the final corner. He is invalidated, so no threat there. So the closest driver on a flying lap will actually be Dark Ice's AlphaTauri. Like Dark Ice, there he goes. He backs out of his lap, trying to go for another one. He did a 19.9, so that's his first bench lap in the AlphaTauri. Puts him behind Bobina in the Renault. Everyone else is still on in the pit lane, except for Rizzi, who's now going out on an outlap on the medium compounded tire. That's going to be interesting to see what he can do. He now has the name change, now representing the BRL. Rizzi, let's see what he can do. First time in the Breakout Racing League, I guess I could say, that Rizzi is sporting that name. We'll see if it's a good luck charm for him as he lets by his sister car in the AlphaTauri, being Dark Ice. He's going to be behind him and the Red Bull. This could possibly be the day that Rizzi takes it to the championship fight and the very, very unique and fun track in Brazil at Sao Paulo, or it could be the track in the day that Rizzi comes oh so close to winning the championship, losing out only to his teammate. We'll have to see how that works out. Gutidu, he went out on a lap and has gone to P3. 14.9 for the Mercedes driver. He goes ahead of Fin by about a couple milliseconds, about 13 to be exact, on the medium compounded tire, the C3. So that's going to be a great setting him up in the race. But since there's no qualifying in the full format we usually do here at Realistic, the tires does matter. There's no session. You can't get knocked out of Q2. You can't get knocked out into Q3. No, this is the tire you get, and this is the qualifying position you get. You have to give it everything you have. Let's see what these drivers can do. Cookie's right now on provisional pole. There's yellow flag sector 1, 2, and 3. That's both Mercedes in the yellow flag zone. That's a Mercedes, I believe, of Gutidu, slowing down, maybe out of gas. And the other Mercedes, I believe, behind a racing point. I believe of Cookie trying to back off and start his flying lap. Rizzi now going into turn 4. Let's see what he could do. We're right on board with the Red Bull driver here, as this is the round that he could possibly take it to the final championship fight in Brazil. Like I've said, actually, ironically, a lap prior in Rizzi's time. As he goes through Sector 2, it's a very, very tricky turn, easy to invalidate. He has to make sure to keep the lap clean on the medium compounded tire. Yellow flag again. Sector 2 looks like it may be in turn 6. That's the other Red Bull. That is going to be Ardell, who is letting by. That's a purple Sector 2 for the Red Bull driver of Rizzi. This is looking good for him. He needs to grab a top 2 finishing spot to secure that championship to go down to the final round of the final round of the season in round 16 at Sao Paulo. Around the final corner, now into the final corner now, because there's actually 2 corners in the final part, 16 and 17. Rizzi goes up to P6 behind Ardell by about less than a tenth. About 51 milliseconds separates those 2 Red Bull drivers in 5th and 6th. Speaking of the other Red Bull driver, he's going to come around the final corner, I believe, to finish an invalidated lap. I'm not sure if he's going to start another one. No, he's not. He lifts off. But there is an AlphaTauri. I believe that is going to be Dark Ice. He's gone out on another lap as well. See what he can do down into turn 4, I think it was. He's invalidated already. So Taylor is apparently in... Everything's all kind of messed up today. It's almost like we're entering the Twilight Zone. Taylor's in the Ferrari. Let's see what he can do. It's still Sands. No matter what car he's in, he still needs that position to grab that for his championship. Ron is in the Williams. Zach is in the Ferrari, as it was shown earlier. That is going to be, I believe, unsighted port going up to P5 on the medium compounded tire. He is only about a couple... 44 milliseconds behind his teammate Gutidu in P3. Fin in the McLaren splits the 2 Mercedes in 3rd and 5th. So he sits P3, P4, grabbing a little bit of tow from B-Dunk in the AlphaTauri. He's on an outlap now going into turn 1. We go to the other AlphaTauri. Dark Ice goes around the final corner. He is invalidated. He's going to start another lap again. He now sits P12, a 19.9 is the AlphaTauri's lap at the moment, provisionally. But I believe that is going to be Rizzi going into box. The next driver on a finishing lap will probably be Taylor. Yes, it is, going into turn 12 now in the final section, the stadium section. And a great sight for the Mexican fans and for the rest of us spectators going through in the Mexican Grand Prix. Taylor, like we said, he only needs to get P6. But if he wants to be completely safe, P5 is where his target is. Taylor on the final corner now, turn 17. Across the line, P9, a 15.4 for the Ferrari now, as he was supposed to be in the Red Bull, but is not. That is going to be, I believe, next unknown in the McLaren. He is going in the pit. He was invalidated. He's going to the box with 7 minutes left in the session. I believe that is going to be the Mercedes of unsighted port. He's going to go again, see what he can do on another flying lap. Behind him, FinFan goes even faster up to P2. He's already ahead and not too far behind. That's about 0.5 of a second separates him and his old teammate at Racing Point, if you don't recall. So he was splitting between both the Haas and the Racing Point every once in a while. Now he's in a McLaren trying to go chase down his Racing Point teammate, Cookie. Speaking of chasing down, B-Dunk is now on the long straightaway now on his flying lap. He's only about 0.8 behind in the Alpha Tauri. So it's an interesting top three. Racing Point, McLaren, and Alpha Tauri 1, 2, 3, with both Mercedes behind them, both on the mediums, to take that in mind. The McLaren of unknown, ahead of Ritzy's teammate, subbing in for Taylor, Ardell, then Ritzy himself, then Taylor, who is in the Ferrari. You have Dark Ice, then sits ahead of the Renault and Fabico pair, as is a Renault sandwich filled with Fabico filling, as B-Dunk has invalidated at the exit of turn 6, and that is going to be his run done. Excited going around the final couple of corners now in Sector 3 in the stadium section, through into 16 and through 17. That's a yellow flag, and he goes into the box. That is the yellow flag. I believe it is the McLaren of FinFan letting past. I believe that is the Williams of Ron Swanson. Yes, it is in the final sector. Let's see what he can do. He was in the Alfa Romeo a week ago. He was invalidated, and he's going to go into the pit lane, trying to grab another set of tires. 6 minutes left in the session. Plenty of time for him to grab another run. The Alpha Tauri is going to come around the final corner now. I believe that is going to be Dark Ice. No, it's not. It's going to be B-Dunk. He's going to go again. Dark Ice is through now the penultimate corner. And he goes in the pit lane following the Racing Point of of Boss Cookie. And that's going to be everyone on track except for Gutidu, who's going again, who actually I think has made a mistake. See, damage? No, it's not. He had yellow flag, so he has the softs on. Everyone has fitted the softs except for Zach and Bobina, both on the medium so far. So everyone looks like they're going to go soft for the top 10 shootout. It is possible. It is going to be a easy one stop if you can, but there's 2 stops are faster. Let's go look at the tire performance graphics as the Mercedes of Gutidu is going to start his lap. The softs can go about 10 to 14 laps, mediums from 14 to 19, and the hards from 18 to 23, so you can do a soft to hard. However, it's not always the quickest. You could do a soft, medium, or a soft, medium, depending on how your stints with tires go. We'll have to see what these drivers do. Plenty of time and plenty of different strategies going on here at Mexico City. And that's an invalidation from Gutidu in the Merc, and that's not going to help his chance. There's still 4 minutes left. There's plenty of time, but unfortunately, it's just not going to really work out too well for him. He wants to be a little bit more safer. They put it down to the final run. Mitchie, it's been a while since he was in the Alfa Romeo. Date back to around the halfway point. I believe Hungary was around the final time he was in the Alfa Romeo seat for Alfa Romeo Racing. He's back for Mexico. Let's see what he can do in the Alfa Romeo. Obviously, he's now the only Alfa Romeo out there. Zach was gone up to the Ferrari to reserve and replace Ferrari. So, Mitchie was supposed to be in the Ferrari, but since Taylor was not in the Red Bull, well, he took the Ferrari seat, and Mitchie is now relegated to the Alfa Romeo. So we'll see what he can do. He's on a flying lap now. Bobina, he's also on a flying lap. That's going to go before the second sector in the S's. And that's going to be Ron behind, not too far. Going a little wide, but he's on an out lap, so it doesn't really matter track limits-wise for him. 16 drivers on the grid trying to make sure nothing happens ahead, giving enough space for unknown in the McLaren in front of him. Zach starts his flying lap on the medium compound tire in the Ferrari. See what he can do. Like I said, he was in the Alfa Romeo a week ago and was signed contract to the Alfa Romeo. And speaking of an Alfa Romeo, Zaizu is now in for Alfa Romeo as well. So now 17 drivers on the grid and plenty of time to set a lap for Zaizu and the rest of the drivers who just joined not too long ago. Apparently, I've got confirmation that whenever we saw Bobina and Zach side by side in a turn 12, it was a Ferrari and Renault formation lap. and to not question why, so I'm not going to question why. We're going to see now, watch Zach through the rest of his lap on the mediums compound tire. We'll see what he can do. He's wanting for his chance in the Ferrari ever since he's shown what he could do in the Alpha, grabbing some of the points, and actually the most points scored by an Alfa Romeo driver. He wants to prove what he can do in the Ferrari on the mediums, and invalidation on the exit of turn 11. That's so unfortunate, and the driver of the Scuderia Red Ferrari is just not going to have that chance unless he has fueled for another run. He could possibly still get out there. Ron is going to be on the Williams. He's the other driver who has not started a lap. We're going to go through here. He's going into turn 5 now, into turn 6 ahead of him, Unknown in the McLaren. He's trying to chase down Unsighted in the Mercedes. Lap time wise, Unsighted put his 14.9 on the mediums. So we'll see if he can do it. Gutierrez goes even faster, and now provisional pole with a 13.865 for the Mercedes driver. And we'll see if he can be the pole sitter ahead of the Mexican Grand Prix, the Mexican himself. Well, that would be a special day. Into turn 12 for Ron in the Williams team. Yellow flag in sector 1. I believe that is going to be some drivers letting others pass. Ron is going to be the next one across the line ahead of him, being Unknown. Unknown at 15.0. Can he improve on his lap? Doesn't look like he can. Ron around the final corner. He will improve on his lap. That'll be a 17.7 for the Williams driver. Behind him is going to be an AlphaTauri, and it's going to be, I believe, starting a lap, it's going to be B-Dunk in the AlphaTauri in P4, 14.8, 3/10 adrift of the McLaren of FinFan. Behind him, it's a Red Bull letting, I'm sorry, a Mercedes letting Red Bull in final sector. And Mitchie retires in the pit lane, so he is out of qualifying as well. So these drivers are both going to let the AlphaTauri of Ardell, or not, of B-Dunk through. The next one across the line is probably going to be Ritchie in the... Oh, it's going to be Ardell. The lead has been given a 5-second time penalty. Collision with Unknown. What has happened here? Oh! That was almost a collision severely with B-Dunk, and he's now been invalidated as well. We see that in the stewards. What has happened here? First it was a collision with Bobina in the Renault, and then it was almost a very near block between him and the AlphaTauri of B-Dunk. Bosky will start a flying lap. B-Dunk not too far ahead. He will start a flying lap. Again, he's going to try to go for as high up as he can. Only, once again, a second off of pole position in the AlphaTauri. What an incredible lap that was. That is going to be Ron and Bobina both pitting. They're going to be out of qualifying. And so Zaizu, he does not set a time either. Cross the line. Unknown is going to go pit as well. FinFan is going to start a flying lap. The Mercedes of Unsighted, he's going to go and try to figure out if he can get a better lap here too. He does P4, a 14.5 for the Mercedes driver, and Ritchie goes up to P2. That's the lap he needed. So Ritchie up to P2. That's a great lap for the Red Bull driver. That is what he needed. Boss Cookie invalidates. FinFan is still on a flying lap. Going through the final sector, I believe, is going to be Gutierrez, but it's a yellow flag. It looks like he has slowed down. Fabico's done. Looks like the only drivers left on a lap is going to be FinFan and B-Dunk, unless Ritchie has something in the tank. FinFan going through the second sector, now into the third sector, into turn 12. Can the McLaren grab a better position? He's only 4 milliseconds off the Mercedes of Unsighted Port. He's going to need a little bit in the tank for the McLaren. Can he get it, though? Around the turn 15, now into 16. He needs a little bit more power. Can he grab it? Through 17 for the McLaren he goes. Can he get ahead of Unsighted? Yes, he does. He does get ahead of Unsighted. Ritchie, he looks like he's still on a lap. No, he's not. He's harvesting and is out of the session as well. B-Dunk doesn't improve, so that is going to be it for qualifying. Gutidu, the Mexican, on pole ahead of Ritchie, who needs to finish there. With Taylor being an 8th, if it stays how it is, it goes on to Brazil. With Boss Cookie in P3, FinFan P4, Unsighted Port P5, B-Dunk in his debut for Realistic in AlphaTauri out-qualifies Ardell in the Red Bull in P6. So, let's go through the rest of the grid now. Behind B-Dunk is Ardell. In the Red Bull, like we stated, Taylor, the championship leader, is in P8 in the Ferrari, with P9 being Dark Ice, P10 being Unknown, having a contact with Bobina, giving him a 5-place grid penalty. We'll see where that will put Bobina. He will start 16th on the grid. Fabico will start 11th. AT4N in the Renault, replacing for Axe. He will start in 12th. Michi in the Alfa Romeo will start 13th. Zach in the Ferrari couldn't get a good lap in. He will start 14th. Ron will start 15th. And Bobina will start P16 with Zaizu riding out the top 10. Actually, in the 17, with not setting a lap. So then on to the formation lap we go. Let's go look at the tire compounds for the race director. Everyone in the top 10 will start on the soft compound tires. Obviously, they qualified through, so they have to start on those tires. Everyone behind, though, has a free choice of tire. Fabico, he'll go on the mediums, with Ethan and ET4N on the softs. Michi on the mediums. Zach on the mediums. Ron, Bobina, and Zaizu all on the medium C3 compound of tire. With now the predicted pit stop strategy with being a soft medium or a soft hard, which I predict some of these drivers will try to go for a soft hard or even a medium hard if they want to get the one stop done. Let's go then. Like I said, the championship can be decided today. Fritzy needs to finish first with the fastest lap, and Taylor finishing less than 6th or 6th. If Fritzy doesn't grab the fastest lap, then he will grab... Taylor needs to get 6th without the fastest lap. If Fritzy finishes P2 with fastest lap, Taylor needs to get 9th and below. And if Fritzy does not grab the fastest lap while being P2, Taylor needs to finish 10th or below without the fastest lap. If Fritzy does not grab the top 2 podium places, the championship will go to Taylor for the second time in a row. For the defending champ, can he try to go it and make it a repeat? Well, can his teammate put up a fight a bit? We'll have to see. Going into this season, it wasn't really suspected to be a Red Bull 1-2, but here we are in Mexico with the Constructors Champions looking for a great finish to the season. Last season, it was Baraps versus Taylor, with Taylor in the Mercedes. Now, it is both Red Bulls fighting it out, with 2 races to go. Ironically, it is a 1-5 for Mercedes with a 2-7 for Red Bull. There's plenty of cars in between these 2 teammates, so there's no strategy for these 2 being played. What can FinFan and Cookie do? What can Insider do? What can B-Dunk do? Can Ardell be a little pushy, being out of place in the Red Bull? Taylor in the Ferrari, he wants to have some redemption. He wants to win the champion today. What are these guys outside the top 10? What about Fabico? What about Michi? Zach? Ron? All these guys on the mediums. What can they do as Zaizu goes off to the 17th grid spot? And we start the 5 light sequence here in Mexico City. Let's make sure these drivers are actually on. And it's lights out. And away we go here in Mexico. And it's a great start indeed from Ritzy. He's already ahead of Gutiérrez in the Mercedes. Behind him, Ross Cookie's up to P2. Gutidu is in P3. Look at these guys. FinFan now has B-Dunk, and I believe that is the Mercedes of Sideport on his outside. 3-1. Is that going to work? Look at these two, though. They both swallowed up. Ritzy going into turn 1. Gutidu ahead of Cookie, ahead of Ritzy. He's going to now try to go fight back. Cookie fights it off. There's going to be 4 cars trying to figure it out. It's going to be Ritzy unsighted. Look at him go. He's already up a couple positions from the start. Gutidu's at the P2. Cookie leads the race. Ritzy down a position. B-Dunk in P5. FinFan goes down, up. Look at these guys run wide. 3 wide into turn 6. That's not going to go. Contact made. Cookie's been spun round. The 2 Mercedes been spun. The pink Mercedes as it is. And into turn 7. We have Cookie still, not Cookie. Gutidu trying to fight off the Ritzy in the Red Bull, but nothing can do it. And Sided goes from 5th to 1st in 1 lap and in 2 sectors. What a start for Mercedes it is. Red Bull is now 3-5. Ardell goes up a couple positions with B-Dunk now actually being overtaken by Ardell. Ardell goes wide going into 12, going into 13, still side by side. A little bit of wheel banging there. Ardell, he's going to stay ahead, grabs in 4th for the Red Bull, and what a good start for Ardell it is. Unsighted and Ardell, both the teammates. I said it was not, they're not too close together. Not going to see some teammate strategy. Well, I was wrong. Well, now going on behind the B-Dunk now leads FinFan with Cookie has a little bit down the field. He has damage, but he has not gone into the pits. He has no front wing. Zach has gone to the pits as well. He's going to go try to change his front wing in the Ferrari. It's unfortunate indeed. Dark Ice has been given a 3-second time, 30 for multiple warnings. You see Zach in the pit lane trying to figure out how to recuperate from this. He's on, I believe that is the medium compounded tire. Let's get the tire details up from here. Now back up front though, let's see if we can get the layout working. Here we go. See, it's still both Mercedes. Unsighted leads Gutidu with Ritzy and Ardell following in suit. And it looks like almost the 2020 IRL F1 season with Bottas, Hamilton, and Verstappen the way it is. But Ardell is not too far behind, 1.5 seconds. If he's not careful though, B-Dunk could get antsy and try to go send one up the inside of turn 13. He just has to see. B-Dunk in the Alpha Tauri has to fight off FinFan and McLaren. But look at this. Here comes 2 McLarens. And the Ferrari of Taylor, he's not sitting still. He wants the P6 from FinFan. They're not done yet. Side by side into 13. Taylor on the outside. He's going to have the inside for turn 14 into 15, and he will get it done. The Ferrari up to P6 and in championship winning contention at the moment. Ritzy's only in P3. Well, the Ferrari obviously is going to have a lot of disadvantages down the straight line, especially with the 2 McLaren Renault-powered cars behind them. He's going to have a lot of work to do. FinFan on the button. He's going to try to go for it. Into turn 1, it looks to the right-hand side, side by side into 1, late braking for the McLaren, and he's going to get it done, but Taylor's going to keep his nose in. He's going to try to go to the inside of turn 2, but he's not going to have enough time and has to go and yield the position into turn 3. No DRS this time by. It'll be enabled next lap because the DRS detention zone will be on the exit of turn 17. So FinFan has to keep it in 7th and still splitting. But look down the inside, Unknown is not done yet. He wants to try to get around the Ferrari like his teammate FinFan did a couple corners ago. FinFan is now all over the front. Unknown is all over the back of Taylor and the Ferrari as these guys are now kind of a little bit of a gap to B-Dunk, 2.6 seconds. Behind them, Bobina has gone up a couple of positions. He's gone up from 16th to 9th, 7 positions off the start. And on the medium compound tire is the highest medium compound runner. Cookie stops as well as Dark Ice, both in the pit lane and are both ahead of Zach in the Ferrari. So let's go take a look at the stops. Like I said, up 7 positions for the Renault of Bobina, and a great start it is from him. Unsighted was up a good start. He's actually been overtaken, by the way. I missed that. He's now up to P2, but we could have an overtaken brewing here for the leaders now. Here comes Unsighted Port. He's just a little bit too far back. Ritzy's not close enough either, but the 2 Mercedes going to squabble out. If they squabble and get into contact, Ritzy could actually take the lead of the race without even having to overtake anyone. Well, let's see how it works here. On board with Ritzy. He's now getting on the back of Unsighted Port. Unsighted Port's not close enough. Ritzy's going to go for a move into turn 4, just not close enough, and was not enough space to complete the dive. Purple sector 1 for Ritzy. He had a great couple of corners. Now into turn 6, the double right-hander. Unsighted Port's all on the back of his teammate Gutidu going into the final. Oh, Ritzy, big tank slapper, saves it, keeps it out of the wall, and keeps it going. If that mistake would have gone maybe a couple millimeters later and he got on the grass, that could have been championship hopes over. But he keeps it, he saves it, and stays in P3. Ardell's been given a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as well. And we're going to put the tire graphics back up. Everyone on the top 8 is on the softs, with Bobina 9th and ET4N in 10th on the softs. and Bobina on the mediums. Obviously, he's the first medium runner. Well, these guys both are close to being out of DRS, so not possible for an overtake unless they're really bold. The closest driver on track with an overtake is going to be Dark Eyes on Zach in 15th and 16th. Both the Italian teams fighting it out for 15th place, about 2.5 seconds behind Cookie, who is the first car who did come into the pit lane. Great straightaway indeed for Unsighted. He's running a little bit lower wings than his teammate ahead. He gained about 0.5 of a second velocity through the corners as he's trying to go a little bit out, braking himself. But look how close again. Once again, with the DRS and the ERS, gets up even closer. About 0.4 separates him from his teammate Gutiérrez, and he's not close enough, but he has to wait. If he can stay here, by the next time they come around turn 11, if he gets pretty close there and into turn 12, he can grab the DRS and probably take the lead of the race back away from Gutiérrez, the pole sitter, and his Mexican at the Mexican Grand Prix, and the Mexican himself at his home Grand Prix. We'll see what they can do, see how well Gutiérrez is in the middle sector. The S's just favoring the lead car, the Mercedes, especially because of their dirty air. But, however, that dirty air turns into slipstream pretty quick, and Unsighted Port is going to try to take advantage of that. Ritzy, though, we talked about how benefiting the middle sector is for the lead Mercedes. What about the Red Bull? Look how close he gained. He was about 0.4 away, farther than he is now, going into Sector 2, into Turn 7, but now he's even closer with Unsighted Port 2.5. Here he comes. He's not on the DRS. He's not close enough. He's going to try to send it up the inside. No, he's not. He's going to play it smart. Into Turn 1. There's not enough space to really run too wide into 2 without having a lot of squabbling. But look at Ritzy. He had a pretty good turn 1, 2, 3. Could he be on the back of Unsighted Port in turn 4? No, he's not. Unsighted Port is a little bit too far away from his teammate Gutiérrez, and Ritzy just does not have the straight line speed to get the Mercedes in front of him. They're both all about 3.5 seconds ahead of Ardell and P4. That is Unknown and Taylor fighting for the 6th position still. Unknown and Taylor, or I'm sorry, yeah, this is the 6th position. Well, I don't know exactly what happened. We missed it because apparently now both McLarens have switched around. Unknown was in 8th, and now he's in 6th, with Taylor being the one attacking. Unsighted and Ritzy, they're going at it as well, up for P2, and Ritzy will actually get past the the Mercedes of Unsighted and into P2. But now, with the DRS straight coming up, will Ritzy maintain it? He's out of the DRS zone right now, 1.06. You need to be within a second of the car in front to grab the drag reduction system, the DRS, and grab that rear wing to deploy. It doesn't look like he did. Unsighted did get DRS. Ritzy did not. Here comes the Mercedes. Like we said, the Red Bull does not have the engine power. Ardell goes into the pits in the Red Bull. A little early stop. Is he going to go on the medium? Yes, he is. The medium compound tire, and possibly a 2-stop for the Red Bull driver and Ardell. Splitting strategies up with Red Bull, trying to probably throw the Mercedes off guard, but they obviously still have a lot better of a situation here, because they can play anything they want. They could have Unsighted stay out longer and Gutiérrez undercut, which is pitting in front of the car that you're trying to race in order to use the fresh rubber to make advantages. Well, let's see what they can do. Ritzy, Unsighted, and Gutiérrez, all three in this train, about almost 7 seconds ahead. Ritzy's now going to 3-second time penalty. That is not great at all. Unsighted Port, who actually goes... that's a little bit of a lag. I'm sorry. Looked like he made a mistake, but unfortunately, it was a connection error on my side, which now means Ritzy now needs either to get a 3-second gap to Unsighted behind, or get Unsighted and Gutiérrez both having penalties as well if he wants a chance to win this race. At the moment, he will be sitting P3, and Taylor would be your champion. Taylor sits P6, so he obviously needs to either grab fastest lap in this position, because Ritzy's now P2 at the moment. As it stands, he's P2, but obviously with the penalty, it could be changed. Ardell gets past Zaizu for P11 in the Red Bull, with the fresh mediums ahead of the 6-lap-old mediums. It's just working in favor of the Red Bull. Behind them, though, it is a little bit of a scrap forming between I believe Zach and Dark Ice, and there's a lot of commotion going down. FinFan in the McLaren pits from P8 on the grid. That now puts both Renaults in the points, P7 and P8, with Michi P9, the lead Ferrari-powered car outside of Taylor, who sits P5, about 3 seconds adrift of Bdunk. Behind him, though, McLaren's Unknown is not too far behind. He's going to still put the pressure on Taylor and the Ferrari, as you saw Ferrari just doesn't seem to have that power advantage that they did a couple years back. Well, now that's going to be hurting him as the long straights here at Mexico City and the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. The DRS for the McLaren, he's going to see if he can try and gain as much time as he possibly can to set up a move for turn 1, as the Ferrari is going to be lackluster down the straights, and possibly set up a move for turn 1 for the McLaren and possibly get him up into P5, as the drivers up front is still within about 6/10 of each other, almost DRS training down into turn 1 and D. Look at these three, with Gutierrez still ahead of Rizzi, ahead of Unsighted, as nothing changes down the long front straightaway. But let's go down to Unknown and to Taylor. Is there going to be a move had? The McLaren's gaining on the Ferrari to the right-hand side of the Ferrari, and now ahead of the Ferrari into turn 1. The braking zone a little bit steeper for the McLaren than it does the Ferrari, and Unknown is now ahead of Taylor into P5 of the race, with P6 having to relinquish for another chance, with Unknown also grabbing the DRS once more, because he got the DRS after turn 17. It is the same detection point for turn 17's DRS straight and turn 3's DRS straight. So that's going to have a lot of advantage for the driver behind. If you can grab the DRS exiting the final corner in that detection point, you can grab the DRS for 2 straights. But don't look now, Bobina is actually catching up quite a bit now. 3-second time penalty for Unknown. Let's go look at penalties real quick. And the fastest lap, let's go look at that. The gap to leader will come shortly. About a 17.6, the fastest lap Gutierrez has right now, about a 10th quicker than Rizzi. Taylor needs about a second to get that fastest lap indeed. Well, the penalties, though, let's go look at the gap to leader. We have an overtake between Cookie and Ron. Cookie up to P12 ahead of the Williams of Ron Swanson. We see Cookies, that is going to be Gutierrez actually being overtaken, I believe, in the pit lane. No, he's not. He's been overtaken on track. Rizzi goes ahead of Gutierrez in turn 1 in the braking zone. The Red Bull. Oh, Gutierrez goes around and out of the wall and out of the race. From first and on pole position to a mistake. Safety car has been deployed. A disaster for Mercedes. They were on pole with a 1-2 in contention. That is so unfortunate for not only the Mercedes team, but the whole man Gutierrez at his home Grand Prix stripped away. So now it is a 1-7 for Red Bull, and Unsighted is now the only Mercedes in the race, with Gutierrez spinning out on his own. That's going to have a lot of drivers going into the pits. Let's go look at the tires. Zach into the pits. Zaizu, FinFan, Ron Swanson, everyone goes into the Grand Prix pit lane to grab and take advantage of this safety car. Ethan has been given a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. That cannot be served under the safety car, so that's going to have to be served under green flag conditions. Rizzi goes in the pit. Will Unsighted follow suit? Yes, he will. So both drivers will come into the pit lane. What will they go on? The mediums for the Red Bull. The Mercedes also has the mediums on as well. A little bit slower pit stop for the Mercedes than it was for the Red Bull, and that'll put them safely ahead. Unknown is going to be in P3. Bobina was on the mediums. This doesn't really help him as much unless he goes for another set of mediums. What will it be? The McLaren goes on to, I believe, the softs. Yes, the softs for the McLaren, a medium set for Bobina. Ardell stays out in the Red Bull, so that's going to be a 1-3. So now the tables have turned completely. It was a 1-3 for Mercedes with the Red Bull in the middle. Now it is a 1-3 for Red Bull with a Mercedes in the middle. We'll see how that plays out. Ardell with the 3-lap-old mediums. B-Dunk sits P4. He gains his position back. Unknown comes out P5. Bobina P6. Taylor actually loses a position to the Renault of Bobina, with Ethan coming in on the hard compound tires in P8, but he obviously has that drive-through penalty to pass through the pit lane. Dark Ice is going to be behind Ethan in P9 on the hards as well. 7-lap-old hards to be exact. Michi in the top 10 for Alfa Romeo, looking to grab some points-paying positions for SF1 Roads and the entirety of the Ferrari team. He's going to see what he can do. He has quite a decent amount of time left, about 25 laps to go, about 24 or 23 when we get back racing after the safety car. Cookie came in as well on the mediums. Ron on the hards for the Williams, fresh hards. FinFan dropped lots of positions. He was not taking advantage of that safety car, but he's probably going to the end on those hards in the McLaren team. Fabico is probably going to do the same, but he has 6 lap old hards. Can he make it at the end? That's going to be a big thing. Zaizu in the Alfa Romeo sits P15 on fresh set of mediums, with Zach behind him on fresh set of hards. So that's a complete grid rundown, with the only driver out of the race being Gutidu from P2 at the time. Lost it. It looks like it was just driver error. So then, behind the safety car, this is pretty much flipped the race on its head, because now the strategy is not going to be so cut and clear. 10 to 14 laps for the softs. So if you can get your set of mediums maybe to about lap 22 or so, you are in the pit window for a set of soft compound tire. Well, how many drivers will do it? Because it's a big, big ask and a big risk indeed. We'll see how they play it off. Unknown in the McLaren, though, he sits on the softs. He's going to have a really good safety car restart. Zaizu actually goes in the pits again. Is he going to go onto the hards this time? The Alfa Romeo. No, he sits on a side of soft, so we'll see if he can do. He's going to try to make up some positions on the safety car restart. Maybe anticipating more carnage. We'll have to see. It's going to be all in the hands of this man right here, Ritzy, trying to take advantage of this situation. He's been gifted the lead, and luckily for him, he passed Gutidu completely before his mistake, so that gave him the lead. He can now control the pack. He now has cars behind him like Unsighted, like Ardell, like B-Dunk, and there's his championship rival in Taylor in P7. As it stands right now, Ritzy will bring the championship on to Brazil. Well, the fastest lap right now will be conceded with a 17.6, and the closest one to that is a 17.7 by Ritzy, so Ritzy could grab 26 points here, which will put 9 points in to what Taylor had built up, which will very much help Ritzy come Brazil. But there's still a long time from now. 23 laps from now, as the safety car will come in around next time by, and we'll get back to racing. So it's going to be this man, Ritzy, ahead of Unsighted, ahead of Ardell, ahead of B-Dunk, then Unknown, then Bobina, then Taylor, then Ethan with a drive-through penalty, then Dark Ice, then Mitchie, then Cookie, then Ron, then Finfan, Fabico, Zach, and Zaizu, who actually comes into the pit lane again. What is the pit stop for this time? Will it be on for hards, or will it be for a set of mediums? Zaizu's trying to, I believe, maybe even get the tire mandate out of the way. He goes on to another set of softs, trying to keep the freshest soft tires he possibly can ahead of this safety car restart. But he has a long way to go. He needs to try to go catch the field before they get back green, which I don't think will be that difficult. They're going into turn 4 now. That's where Zach is in the Ferrari. Well, they will go green this time. It'll be at the nature and the full decision of this man in the Red Bull racing car. And Ritzy's full decision, full disclosure, and full word of go. Can he do it? He needs to have one more pit stop. Obviously, he started on the softs, as did everyone in the top 10. So technically, they could go to the end just off of the F1 rule. But because of the mediums restriction, about 19 laps, I don't think they can make it, but we'll see. I've been wrong before. The safety car will go in this lap. Ritzy's now going to back the field up, and everyone is going to try to get their tires up to temperature before the safety car restart. Keep an eye on Zaizu. He's going to have the freshest tires and the softest tires and the ones that are up to temperature. Keep an eye on Unsighted. He's going to try to make a move into turn 1. Why will he not, though? But we'll see. Ardell in the Red Bull, he's going to try to help his teammate out, but how much favors will he play Ritzy? Ritzy looks like he's going, but he has to try to keep it nice and steady. He can't stop and start. Still weaving. Now he goes. It's a great restart for Ritzy. Unsighted is not going to be put under pressure, but not under pressure as Ardell is from B-Dunk. B-Dunk in the same engine power, Alpha Tauri, but looks like the Red Bull has more power. Unsighted Port just does not have enough straight left, doesn't want to go down the inside. Contact been made. He was actually a little bit rear-ended almost from Ardell, but still, no contact was made damage-wise. We're still okay. As Ritzy from Unsighted, from Ardell, from B-Dunk, from Unknown Newt, from Bobina, from Taylor, from Ethan, from Dark Ice, from Mitchie, the same top 10, but here comes Boss Cookie. He's looking for it as car is locking up into turn 4, trying to get the car slowed down, avoiding hitting the car in front. Ethan getting a little bit off. Little wheel spin. That's contact made, and that's going to be a... Oh, that's FinFan around. I don't know if that was caused by the contact with Boss Cookie, or if that was initiated before, but that was a weird space to spin if that was initiated by Boss Cookie's racing point. Well then, Ritzy still leads, unsighted by about a second ahead of Ardell, who actually has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so it's not him alone. Ron gets passed by Zach and the Ferrari up to P12 for the Ferrari man, trying to make his positions back. Dark Ice and Boss Cookie switch positions, and Cookie goes back up to P10 to get dropped down to P11, now goes back up to P10. These drivers having a nice little scrap down here. And finally gets past. Ethan now goes in to serve his drive-through time penalty that he has to pass through the pit lane for, that he cannot serve under safety car conditions. Cookie now going to try to go chase after Mitchie in the Alfa Romeo, but just not close enough, not enough straight to help the racing point. We'll see the gap to leader as Zaizu and Ron. Zaizu on those fresh, and that is going to be intermediate tires for FinFan? Oh, he retires from the session. So we've lost now a second driver, FinFan, going to be the second one, joining TRT Gutiru as drivers out of the race. As Goski gets past Mitchie for P8. Let's go look back at the leaders here. It's going to be Ritzy by about 0.8 of a second from Unsighted. Ardell's now 2.5 seconds back in the second Red Bull car, ahead of Unknown in the McLaren with the softest tires in the top 10, actually, both compound-wise and fresh-wise. He is one of, if not in the best position right now. But behind him, you see B-Dunk under pressure from the Renault of Bobina. Behind him is going to be Taylor in the Ferrari, so keep an eye on him. He obviously wants to make sure that he does not lose out. Fastest lap of the day going to Unsighted, so that actually takes it away from his teammate at 17.6. So can it be done? I mean, obviously, there's yellow flag because of FinFan, but obviously it can be done. Obviously, Ritzy can do it if he grabs on this set of softs, but can Taylor do it to try to take it away and try to keep his championship locked up today? It's going to be a big ask for that Ferrari, but Unsighted. The DRS is enabled, but it's not going to be activated until next time by. Obviously, like I said at the beginning of the race, a little bit earlier, that it has to be, the activation point is on the exit of turn 17, meaning it takes about a full lap after the DRS is activated for it to be activated itself. It's going to be activated for the first time here at the exit of turn 11. But because of the dirty air on the S section here at Mexico City, doesn't look like it's going to be that powerful and help for Unsighted, but he still is in that DRS zone and DRS range, so he can still take advantage of it down the straight into turn 1, late braking like Ritzy did on his teammate Gutiru not too long ago. Behind them is going to be a little bit of a gap. Zach goes past Mitchie in the Alfa Romeo. There's a yellow flag, and I believe that's actually being spun around. Mitchie's been spun around. Yes, he has, with Fabico and Zach. That is a big collision. That is a virtual safety car. No front wing to Mitchie in the Alfa Romeo. Fabico has no front wing on his left side. Zach doesn't appear to have damage, but he has spun around as well. That's going to be pretty bad for these drivers. Fabico goes into the box. Zach stays out. Mitchie obviously has to go into the box. He has about a plank of wood on his front wing for the Alfa Romeo. That's not good at all for these guys. While that's been happening, the virtual safety car has actually helped out Ritzy just a tad. 1.9 seconds is the interval between him and the Mercedes of Unsighted behind. But there's a delta you have to abide to, and obviously Ritzy was speeding just a tad bit, as Unsighted goes right back up into the DRS range, actually even closer than it was before. The softs going on for Fabico and for Mitchie. Both drivers taking advantage of this virtual safety car. Obviously, there's not much to take advantage of as they were involved in an accident, as well as Zach the Beast in turn 12. DRS has been enabled. Virtual safety car is gone, and Unsighted port has actually been jumped 1.1 seconds. This has actually really hurt Unsighted in the Mercedes. He's now lost DRS, so if Ritzy can keep out of the DRS range of the Mercedes, this can help him throughout the rest of the Grand Prix and try to pull away. And he has obviously a 3-second time penalty, so if Unsighted port has to push, he'll probably pick up a penalty sooner or later. We'll see how that plays out. 4.4 seconds the gap between Ardell, but Unknown Newt is behind him. Now with DRS and with overtake deployed, he's going to try to go look. Ardell looks in defense to the right-hand side, but Unknown just goes straight past, and Ardell now goes to P4 with Unknown in the McLaren to P3 at the moment. What a great drive it has been for the McLaren so far. And unfortunate for the other McLaren and FinFan, it hasn't worked out so well. B-Dunk has actually gone closer to Ardell and Unknown than when he was about a lap or two ago, with Bobina now has gapped 1.2 between the AlphaTauri and the Renault driver. Actually, the Renault driver is starting a little bit of a train here. There's a racing point behind him and Boss Cookie, and behind him the championship leader and Taylor in the Ferrari. Taylor obviously doing the best with the Ferrari-powered car, just not really, you know, giving him the amount of power that he needs. A little bit of mistake through the S section didn't really hurt out, or didn't help out his case at all. 1.3 seconds the gap between Unsighted and Ritzy. Will keep an eye on that gap. But through the rest of the field, Boss Cookie's still close enough. Cookie, speaking of him, has been given a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That'll put his total, I believe, to 9. Yes, 9 seconds for the racing point. But he's now right almost underneath the rear wing of the Renault, but he obviously has the DRS of the AlphaTauri in front, and the AlphaTauri in front has the DRS from Ardell in front, who has the DRS from Unknown. But that's not going to stop Cookie. He's going to go to the right-hand side with the DRS, with the overtake much going. And late braking for Cookie, and goes up into P6 as the same time as Fabico, and the other racing point has retired from the session on the exit of turn 11. Did he have some help? Doesn't look like Michi has any damage. So Fabico is out of the race. He now joins FinFan and Gutsidu as drivers out of the Grand Prix. That means 14 drivers remain with about 15 laps or so to go. No, 17, sorry. 17 laps to go. So drivers are now open for the medium stint window. If you have already satisfied the Formula 1's rule of at least using 2 dry compounds during a Grand Prix. That satisfies Dark Ice. He could go to the end now on a set of mediums. Zaizu could go to the end on a set of mediums. Same with Zach, Ron, Ethan, Michi, and Unknown. All could go to the end on a set of mediums. But it's going to be a long order, and it probably needs some tire saving. But it can be done. Let's go back to racing. Safety car comes back in. The virtual safety car is off. And we're back going again. Unsighted Port lost out again. Now even more time has lost out to the Red Bull in front of him. 1.4 seconds. Now the gap between the Mercedes and the Red Bull. With behind him, Unknown is not safe yet. He now tries to break the slipstream in the toe from Ardell in the Red Bull. Ardell on the button, on the overtake button. He's going to go left on the outside of turn 1. Contact a little bit, but it looks like he's still going for it. They're still side by side, and eventually Unknown has to yield the position to Ardell. Ardell now back up in the podium places. But now, don't look now, Boss Cookie is actually grabbed ahead of B-Dunk in P5, and now is now a part of this group. Ardell, Unknown, Boss Cookie, B-Dunk, Bobina is not too far away, and not too far away from Bobina is Taylor. So from 3rd to 8th, we could have a little bit of a fight going here. Boss Cookie runs wide at the exit of turn 6, and we'll see how these guys go through the S section here from turn 7 all the way to turn 11, because the dirty air is going to be pretty hard, especially if you're the 4th, 5th car in the train like Bobina and B-Dunk are right now. Well, going in, 1.9 seconds, and Unsighted Port has actually lost even more time to the back of the Red Bull in front. But now Unknown Newt is probably going to do the same thing that Ardell did a lap prior. Ardell's actually go in, and he's probably going to the end of the race. That means Unknown is going to be provisionally P3. Boss Cookie behind him. He has the DRS. He has the overtake button on. To the left-hand side goes the racing point. And will it be easy? No, it won't. Both these drivers have about the same amount of engine power. Late braking once again for the McLaren, as we saw many times. But Cookie's going to keep going there. Still side by side. Still side by side. But Cookie's going to have a better drive on the exit of turn 3. But Unknown and Cookie are both going to have the DRS. Will Unknown try to use it this time? No, it looks like he's not enough straight. And he cannot grab the racing point back. Cookie up to P3 after a spin in the early stages of the Grand Prix at turn 6. Ironically, right here. So behind them, Unknown now leads B-Dunk, who leads Bobina, as these drivers have been... B-Dunk's been kind kind of stretching around the P4, P5 window. Same with Unknown as of late. But Bobina, he started down in P16. He's now up to P6, up 10 positions so far today. We've seen a lot of drivers struggle starting from the back part of the grid. Well, not Bobina. He's actually gone up the most out of everyone on the grid. So we'll see what he could do as Racing Point. Obviously, they're kind of in the mind of their own, constructors-wise, but not these team behind them. McLaren, AlphaTauri, and Renault are all battling for 4th. McLaren leads AlphaTauri by 15, and Renault is behind AlphaTauri by 10. So Renault needs to try to do the best they can to try to grab the most points on AlphaTauri right now. Both AlphaTauris in the points, and only one Renault. We'll see what they can do. Still about 7 seconds is the gap between Cookie and Unsighted. Not looking there. Unknown goes really wide at the exit of turn 3. Grabs a 3-second time penalty as well. That doesn't help his case. B-Dunk's going to the outside into turn 4, and that's going to mean he's actually going to go up into P4, back where he was for the majority of this Grand Prix, and see if he can now co-catch Boss Cookie in the Racing Point. With all that scrapping, here comes Taylor. He's now a part of this fight in the Ferrari. He's now behind Bobina in the Renault and Unknown in the McLaren. Not too far behind them, though. 5.5 seconds is Dark Ice in the AlphaTauri. And Zaizu is about 2.5 seconds off of the Dark Ice machine on the softs. So Dark Ice has been using those hards for 18 laps. So when are we going to see that AlphaTauri come into the pits? We've already seen Ardell go in for this final set of mediums. And going to go to the end of the Grand Prix from that one. We'll move the rest of them. No one else has gone in for the top 7. Will Dark Ice go in the AlphaTauri? No, he doesn't. He stays out. Zaizu's coming to the end almost to his soft window. Zach could make it to the end on these hards, but will he go in and box? No, he doesn't. He stays out. Ardell not too far behind him, though. So we're going to see if that... Ardell actually grabs the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 17.6. Marginally faster, I think, than... Unsighted Port, yeah, and it's actually not that far. But look at this, he's not done yet. He wants to go after Zach in the Ferrari. He goes up to the inside of turn 1, and now is up into P10 and the points paying positions. Now he has 2 points to his name, as he has the fastest lap. Wow. Well, going through, he's actually going to try to break the slipstream and the toe to the Ferrari behind of Zach, but he's just not close enough, and the Ferrari power not giving Zach all the power he needs to go chase after that Red Bull going into turn 4. But now up front, we'll go from one Ferrari to the other. Taylor is not too far away from Unknown and still in this train of B-Dunk, Bobina, and Unknown, with Taylor kind of rounding it out. Taylor's looking the closest out of the rest of these guys. They can try to see what they can do to get past. So if Bobina gets past... Actually, that's going to be a quick call. Unsighted now has to see what he can do, 1.7, but Unknown goes in the pits, and he's going to already go to the mediums for the rest of the Grand Prix. That's going to be his last stop, and that's also going to be Dark Ice in as well. 20 laps on his hards. Unknown does go to the mediums. Zaizu stays out. He's going to be in the top 10 now, P7 to be exact, for the Alfa Romeo team. Ardell now gets promoted up to P8. He's been doing a really good job, actually, today with that Red Bull team. He was out of place in qualifying, but he's fought back and actually has been pretty consistent. See what he can do in the rest of the Grand Prix. Still about 13 laps to go. He's going to be going to the end, so we'll see where he is actually going to shuffle out when pit stops all come through. Leader for second. Right now, Unsighted and Ritzy both. So there, I don't know if statistically here and B-Dunk like this main 3-car train, as Unsighted's actually been given a 3-second time penalty, which actually helps out Ritzy. Like I said, if he gets Unsighted to push and he eventually gets up those time penalties, it will pay off, and it has so far. Ritzy now has a 3-second time penalty. Unsighted has a 3-second time penalty. Ritzy's no longer provisionally P2. He's provisionally winning the race. We'll figure that one out, though. At the moment, Bobina's actually closing up quite significantly on the button to the right-hand side of B-Dunk, and actually going to go ahead of the AlphaTauri in front. Maybe the Renault showing a little bit more pace than B-Dunk's AlphaTauri at the moment. Into P4 for the Renault. What a great finish it has. He's now given a 3-second time penalty, B-Dunk does, for cutting corners and multiple warnings. Unknown and Zaizu battling, and Zaizu's actually gone into the pits for a set of softs. He's going to go to the Grand Prix end. He's going to try to go and make it last on those soft compound tire. It is within the window of 10 to 14 laps on those C4 tires. Let's see what he can do. He now sits P13 ahead of his teammate, also on the softs. Well, that'll shuffle Ardell up to 7th, but the battle still focuses on these three with Taylor. Now, 3.3 seconds is the gap between Ritzy and Unsighted Port. Unsighted's tires seeming to going off a little bit more than the Red Bull drivers does. Closest gap on track is still these three with, don't look now, Unsighted Port's, Zaizu and Ron are both close, and Taylor goes in, Unsighted and Ritzy both go in, so that's going to be 3 drivers going in, as well as Bobina. So will that be the softs for these guys? That's going to be softs for Ritzy and for Unsighted. That's going to be the mediums. That's going to be softs, sorry, for Bobina as well. And Taylor goes on the softs as well. He's actually been held up a bit. Oh, just once again the connection. So that puts Ardell up to P5. And he's not too far away from Unsighted and Ritzy behind. But these guys are on the softs compared to Ardell's mediums, so Ardell could be on the back foot here if he's not too careful. But let's go look at the gap to leader, obviously. About 2 seconds is the gap between Ritzy and B-Dunk. So it's just closing off pretty well. But look at these guys, Zach, Taylor, and Unknown. All these guys came out close to each other. Zach on 15 lap hold hards. That's going to be almost 3 wide going into turn 4. Around the outside of not 1, but 2 cars goes Taylor. What a move for the Ferrari. That's why he is your championship leader. He now goes from P9 to P7 in a span of a straightaway and a corner. Well, Taylor now has to go catch up to Bobina, because what Taylor needs, if he wants this race to go on to Brazil, is at the moment, Ritzy does look like he will grab the victory if it stands how it is now. Taylor, obviously, Cookie will probably need to pit. Same as B-Dunk. There they go. They're both in now. Cookie has a lot of time penalties. Taylor needs P6 and fastest lap if Ritzy doesn't get it. But I don't think that's going to be possible. But we never know. Let's see. Can Taylor jump B-Dunk? It's going to be close. It's going to be real close. Here he goes. He will actually get ahead of B-Dunk in the AlphaTauri. Maybe. Actually, no, he won't. Unless he sends it down the inside. No, he doesn't. B-Dunk, well, just stay in P6. Not enough straightaway for the Ferrari. And the Ferrari power just not kicking in enough for Taylor. But Taylor's spot that he needs right now, if Ritzy finishes the way it does, is P5. At the moment, he's P7. So it actually will go even further downhill. It'll be 6 points to Taylor and 19 advantage to Ritzy. It'll be a full 25. So far, we'll put the gap down to about 24 points? So B-Dunk's been given a 3-second time penalty, which actually could help out the Ferrari here. It actually could go down to penalties. Because B-Dunk has 12 seconds, Cookie has 15. And at the moment, that will put him P5. That'll put him more than P5. So everyone else is going to be safe from the change. Like I said, 11 positions up for Bobina. Great finish today. Actually, it may put him... There's a chance. We may have a Renault podium again. Ardell and Cookie, they're now battling at it for these two. In the podium positions, Ardell now goes to P4. Charge now comes to an end. And he now has another time penalty as well. That puts his... That puts 15 apiece for Cookie and Ardell, and 12 to B-Dunk, meaning Taylor, if he keeps it clean and doesn't get drastic amount of penalties in the next couple of laps or so, that'll mean Bobina will be P3, and P4 most likely will be Taylor, meaning that will be the championship. What a hectic race has already been so far. We've had a lot of drivers out of position, a lot of drivers not in the right cars. But here we are. Still races on. About 7 laps to go. Plenty of time. Plenty of time indeed. It's not over until it's over. 15-7. Cookie grabs the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So, that will help out Taylor a bit. Because as long as Ritzy doesn't have it, it looks better and better for Taylor. And I was going to say the Red Bull, but he's not in the Red Bull this week, now is he? The Ferrari man at the moment, but technically the Red Bull man overall. But still, you can't discredit the work from Ritzy. Not only from this race, from this season as well. Both these drivers have been excellent the entire year. Both of them have shown the real consistency, the real driving finesse that you would see in a champion and a Constructors champion. Red Bull this year and Realistic have been truly unstoppable. Yes, they may have not been fighting for wins week in and week out, but you can pretty much bet that almost every week they had a podium. At least one of those two, if not both of them. The points that they both gained is superb. Now, you can't discredit all the other drivers, because they were extremely competitive as well. Look at Gutiérrez, look at Port. Both those drivers stepped in. Well, actually, Port stepped in to a second Merc seat that was pretty lacking. As Hoop said from himself, he needs a consistent driver. That was something that he didn't have before Spa. He had a quick stint with DXD Shigo, and Port got the call up to Merc, and has done a pretty well job ever since then. But you can't take away from other drivers too. Cookie in the Racing Point for a while was the championship leader. That was a shock to us all. Not that he was, but the Racing Point itself. For he said many times that the car just wasn't there with the rest of the drivers around he was chasing, around with both Mercedes, both Red Bulls. Yet he was still there. And what a great finish it's been for him. That's unfortunate as we're on board with him as he gives another 3-second time penalty that puts his title to 18. But you go down the list, and it gets even more incredible. Ardell had a poor start of the season, and just could not get the ball rolling with the Renault team that he was alongside Feta with. And after a little bit of a shuffle from Feta going from driver to race team principal, then with me stepping in, and then after a while, Ardell being dropped from the team and getting replaced by, ironically, the guy he's being overtaken by down the straightaway, Bobina up to P4, and that even proves my point even more. Ardell had a crazy season and is going to probably try to end it on the best ways he can. Bobina stepped in at Spa for the Renault team and has made a remarkable strides ever since, putting him in a chance to go for that P4 in the Constructors. Well, behind them, though, B-Dunk obviously is making his debut for Realistic. Not much to say there, but I don't know. P4 in an AlphaTauri at a power track like Mexico. What a great showing it's been for B-Dunk. We already know how well B-Dunk can drive. That's no surprise there. Behind him, Taylor, the defending champion. Well, I mean, what can you say? Started off, it looked like it was going to be a difficult season for him. Just kept not going his way, but eventually it got the ball rolling, and it went rolling fast. He went from third to first in the championship, catching Ritzy, passing Ritzy, and being in a championship position where he could win at this race, even in a car that is significantly just worse overall than the Red Bull itself. Behind him in P8 unknown, he was in the Alfa Romeo for a while, and like him and Mitchie, unfortunately could just never grab that points paying position. They were so close so many times. Well, eventually he got his wish after having a little bit brief stint and a brief sabbatical after things coming up. Well, obviously it got better. An unknown sitting P8 in the McLaren team right now, but being chased down by Dark Ice, who's been around a carousel of cars and teams trying to find an open seat to call his own. Well, you can say he's been doing pretty well so far, grabbing the points in the Williams at Singapore and being P9 right now in the AlphaTauri. What a good day it's been for him. But speaking about carousel and jumping teams. Zaizu's behind him. That's another driver who's been looking for a team ever since he lost his drive. He's been trying to find some teams to call his own, but he's been reserving and been doing a really good job at it, sending P10. And behind him, it's Zach. He was the first driver actually to score points in the Alfa Romeo, and he's been doing a pretty good job, if I don't say so myself. As Ardell's been overtaken by Taylor for P6, and Mitchie gets past Ethan for P13. Behind him, Ron joined the same day that Zach did, both teammates in the Alfa Romeo team. But due to some shakeups, he's now sitting in the Williams team, and he's done a pretty good job for the cars he's had to work with as well. No fault to his own, and a really good show indeed. He's not that far away. Look at this, though. Ethan and Mitchie, they're battling for it as well as they're getting lapped and overtaken by Unsighted Port in the Mercedes. It's a three-wide battle almost for 12th. What a great fight we're having here. Ethan down the inside of Mitchie. Contact into the wall and out of the race for Mitchie in the Alfa Romeo. Drama. With 2 laps to go. No safety car will be deployed. Well then. That's unfortunate, really indeed. Well, Mitchie will now join Fabrico, Finfan, and Gutidu as drivers out of the Grand Prix. But with about 2.5 laps to go, it is about time we start looking back up front. We see Dark Ice and Unknown. They're both starting to fight it out in their battle for 8th. Here we go. Dark Ice going to go around the outside and clean past the McLaren into P8. With those same lap old mediums, but it looks like Dark Ices just seem to be firing off a little bit better than the McLaren of Unknowns right now. But not too far behind, ahead of them. Ardell is kind of falling off just a tad bit with those mediums. 12 lap old. I mean, they can make it, but they're going to be a tall ass to try to go and be productive with all these guys around them on softs, like Taylor, like B-Dunk, like Bobina. And Ardell's been given a 3-second time penalty as well. Well then, let's go look. That's now 21 seconds for Ardell, 15 and 18 respectively for B-Dunk and for Boss Cookie. So at the moment, it does look like it will be a championship win for Taylor. But there's still about a lap and a half to go. Ritzy has driven an absolute incredible race, as Dark Ice has actually got past not only Dark Ice, but Unknown has actually got past Ardell as well. That's a yellow flag. That's a Ron Swanson, I believe, has spun round. It has that front wing damage, I believe it is. Yes, it is. No left side end plate in turn 4. It's unfortunate. He was driving a really good race and now sits down in P13. But now we go through back to the leader. Well, at the moment, it doesn't look promising, but there's still nothing you can discredit him for. We go now on to the final lap of the Grand Prix here in Mexico for Ritzy Raccoon, as he were. Now it's BRL Ritzy. He's done incredible this season. In a car and a team that is supposed to be fighting for championships and for podiums, they went even higher. Not only did they secure the Constructors' Championship, they're 1-2 in the Drivers. And he did not expect to be in this position even going into this race, much less the rest of the season. And that's something that you can take pride in yourself. Being the champion means something almost that none can actually feel. Little do, many wish to, everyone wants to. And man, has it been a great season indeed. For not only Red Bull, but for the rest of BRL Realistic. It's been so competitive. It's been so exquisite to watch. Well, it's finally been crowned. but Ritzy's done all he can. Around turn 17, BRL Ritzy will win the Mexican Grand Prix by 4.5 seconds over unsighted port. He did what he needed to do. Ritzy did the job. He got 25 points. He closed the gap. Now will it stand? Cookie around the final corner. He finishes P3 on track, but with his penalties. That will mean for the third time this season, Bobina and the Renault will be on the podium. With B-Dunk, he will be behind him. Behind Cookie, Taylor, though, will grab P4 and will indeed become champion of the world for the second time in a row. He was once a champion for Mercedes. Now he's a champion for Red Bull. Incredible. Incredible work from him and from both Red Bull drivers. It was amazing to watch the entire season. Dark Ice finishes 7th. Unknown finishes P8. Ardell finishes P9. Zach the Beast comes home to finish P9 since to Ardell's penalties. Zaizu will grab the final points paying position with Ardell in P11. We've seen highs, we've seen lows, but we've seen many highs today. From 16th to 3rd, we see a podium driver. We see Unsighted, who at last wanted a win so bad. He'll have to finish 2nd. And Ritz, he did all he can. He did everything right, but just misses out by a couple of points. Well, with that being said, these are your podium drivers ahead of the Mexican Grand Prix. Ritzy sits on the top step next to Unsighted Port and Bobina, as these three have once again shown why they deserve the podium. Bobina especially from 16th to 3rd. We'll go through. Let me invite the winners. What do you mean, why are you here? Alright. All of you, whenever I go to you, make sure you get your audio clicked in the box. We'll go to Bobina first, go to Unsighted, then to Ritzy, and then finish off with Taylor.
Okay, good.
We just gotta get Ritzy in here. Speak of the devil. There we go. Alrighty, I'll be set up in a quick little moment.
You guys have snacks?
I don't actually. I have like 60 water bottles. You want one of those?
I'm a giant Sour Patch Kids. Hell yeah, give me one.
That works. Alrighty then. Let's go to P3 and Bobina. From 16th on the grid, obviously it was P11, but with a 5-place grid penalty, it just had to be gone from bad to worse. But then you ended up going up not 1, not 2, not 10, but 13 positions up to P3 on the grid for your 3rd podium of the season, and Renault's 3rd of the season as well. That was something that was definitely needed, and one heck of a drive from you. What was your race? How was it?
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed that race. I found out that I was hella fast in the straight line, so I used that to my advantage. And then I can regen really well, so I used a lot of my ERS. But yeah, it was fun.
Well, it definitely looked fun from up here. Going up 13 positions is no easy feat, but that's something you've done. And once again, for the 3rd podium of the season, and Renault's 3rd, which is great, and your fight against AlphaTauri and McLaren. But let's see how that plays out with one round left. What do you think your hopes are for Brazil going in?
Probably like a top 5 would be good. and then have the second driver, or have my teammate also in the points would be nice. But yeah, I think we can get them.
Some high hopes from Bailey and Bobina and the all of the Renault team. We'll see how they play out. Let's go on to P2 and Unsighted Port. It looked so promising. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Well,
Ask your question.
qualifying looked a little bit under par from your standards, but obviously from the end of the first lap, you went from, what, 5th to 1st? It was one heck of a start, and the rest of the race just didn't seem to go as planned. What was your view from it?
Yeah, bottled quali. I honestly have no clue how I ended up first after the first lap. That was just insanity. Yeah, race was going fine. I was actually doing really well on warnings until the pit stop disaster, and then after that is I can't be asked. I don't like this game.
Well then, it's still a P2 and a podium nonetheless for Mercedes that honestly looked like it was going all down the drain. It all started so well. Mercedes won 2, and then when Ritzy got the penalty, it looked like it was going to even reinforce that statement. And then whenever Coutinho lost and crashed out of the race at the exit of turn 3, it all went downhill for Mercedes and yourself. But do you have any hopes going into Brazil for the final race of the season?
Yeah, I think Brazil should be good. I feel much more confident around there. I really dislike Mexico, so I'm hoping to end the season on a high.
And a high we hopefully will hope you give us. Well, once again, congratulations for you and Mercedes team for P2 on the grid.
Thank you.
So now then, we go to the top 2. You were first in the race, but you finished just oh so close in the championship. Ritzy, you did everything you had to, and even more. You only had to get P2. You got P1. Just like I said many times, you didn't expect to be here in the championship fight the rest of the season. But you are. And you were oh so close. What does it mean to you to be oh so close yet so far?
Honestly, I know it's gonna make me sound terrible. I didn't really care about winning the championship. I was just here for the constructors because I was lucky enough to be signed by the Red Bull team who did eventually win the constructors, which is really good. Being championship leader for a couple rounds was pretty cool too, but I know Taylor was gonna make it up, and the fact that I missed 2 races didn't really help. So I just, I was just here to help the team after I missed the first race, and yeah, congrats to Taylor who won the championship. Great job. Yeah.
Well then, at least there's no hard feelings, unlike some people. Um, well, obviously, the championship's all locked up. You have pretty much nothing to go for when it comes to both constructors and the drivers. So what do you expect in Brazil? What do you have planned? Do you have anything special?
I'm just gonna drive.
Are you driving?
Yeah, might be vibing.
You be vibing in the Ritzy car.
Yes, sir.
Well, I was about to change the car because you drove a Ferrari today. And by the way, congrats on your win in the P2 and the championship, Ritzy. But
Yeah.
obviously you didn't really drive the Ferrari. Now did you, Taylor? Mr. Two-time champion of realistic.
I woke up at 7:45.
We know. We all know. You ain't slick.
Ardell took my seat.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Maybe you should, I don't know, wake up early. Come on.
I took a good nap though.
Well, then go back to sleep whenever this is done. I don't know. But congrats. You are now not one, but a 2-time realistic champion. You even did it in a car that was not really to par.
Complete bad.
Alright, well, I was going to say that, but yeah, sure.
It's a tractor.
It's not a
can't go?
tractor, actually. That's a Williams, sir.
It is a tractor.
No, it's not.
It is a tractor. I can confirm.
It's not.
It is trash.
Alright, fine,
Yes.
whatever. Okay. Well, anyway. What was your sights whenever you saw Ardell in your car? You had to get in the Ferrari, and yet you still found a way to win the championship today.
So originally, I was supposed to go in either like Alfa Romeo, Haas, or Williams. But I saw the Ferrari open, and Yeah. Didn't know Mitchie was racing. So apologies to him, first of all. But yeah, I knew penalties were going to be pretty bad here. If I could limit that, then definitely going to be able for a top 5, which is what happened, so. Good racing all season between Ritzy, Merckx, and then when Cookie and Chandler were up there at the front too, so. Yeah, we'll see where next game takes me. Yeah.
Well, obviously you're now the champion for the second time. Do you have anything planned for Singapore? Or not for Singapore, for Brazil?
Wait, we're going back to Singapore?
Yeah, I'm down.
I'm down.
Can we
down.
please do that? Can we just like scrap whatever race that we already did so I can lead the race, not spin under safety car?
No, I'm like podium.
Oh.
No, I want my podium. Yeah, you're taking Bobina's podium away. What do you mean? You worked
Yeah,
hard
I
for
don't care.
that thing.
I'd rather take it. It's my podium. Give it back.
Yeah, Brazil, definitely getting a photo shoot. We're gonna have us 4 wide across the line, definitely. That's not gonna happen, but
Wait, when
Yeah.
did I agree to that?
You gotta pull a Holland, by the way.
you didn't agree to it. You are agreeing to it, though.
Oh,
You gotta pull a Holland whenever you guys lap me.
Yep.
Side by side formation.
Brazil's gonna be a chill race, so I'm thinking about pitting 7 times and trying to win. We'll see what happens, though.
Let's hope we get a 2012 type Brazil race. That'll be fun. Well, speaking of fun, it has been fun. The championships now both been locked up. Red Bull takes not 1 but 2. They are the double world champions, and Taylor is now a 2-time world champion of realistic. Congrats to both Red Bull, Exia, Taylor, Ritzy, and everyone in the Red Bull team. And I guess I could say Cam. Congrats, Cam. I don't want to say
no,
that.
don't congrats him. It was all Alexia.
All right, yeah, it was all Exia. You know, don't listen to your drivers there. But yeah, for the rest of realistic though, we still have 1 round left, and it's still. It may not seem like there's all to play for, but it's all to play for. It's not all locked up. You still have drivers trying to fight for every last point. For constructors trying to finish ahead of any other team they possibly can. Like for example, the Haas Williams Alfa Romeo fight and the McLaren Alpha Tauri and the Renault fight. Keep in mind, they're not locked up yet. You can still see a lot of action in Brazil. So tune in next week for here at Sao Paulo for the final race, round 16 of the BRL Season 6 Realistic Tier, and see the rest of these guys go around one final time for a season that has been truly enjoyable. But for myself, the catcher up in the booth, everyone else in the Realistic Tier, we say thank you for tuning in today, and I apologize for my mic being crap.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my god, it's bad.
Oh!
Point proven. Anyway,
You didn't